When the internet began, bulletin board services, or BBS, became the first online communities of the so-called information superhighway. Using their phone lines, people logged in from all over America to talk about sports, games, movies, and on one BBS in particular, share their ghost stories. Over time, those communities all went dark, except for one lone server that continues to operate somewhere in an unknown part of Pennsylvania's Rust Belt. A relic of the 1990s, veiled in mystery, it is a digital archive of humanity's strangest encounters with the unknown, as told by the people who experienced them. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you are listening to Fear Daily.
Subject: The Haunted Depot. User: Left 4 Dead. Posted November 1st, 1997.
I was supposed to be a dead prom queen, but the hairspray gave me a headache and the crown kept slipping sideways. By the time we hit Main Street that Halloween night, I didn't care. It was me, Jess in a witch hat, Maria with cat ears, and the boys, Evan in a tux, Sean in his football jersey, and Dave sweating under a rubber werewolf mask. 6 of us, loud and jittery, headed for the haunted depot. The depot was the old railway building, a brick rectangle down by the tracks. On Halloween, they strung it with rope lights and fog machines, and some guy in a top hat barked into a squealing microphone about no safe word. It sounded corny. That's why we came. We wanted to scream and laugh and then brag about it Monday in homeroom. Inside, the first rooms were the usual stuff. Black plastic walls, strobe lights, actors in bad makeup. A clown made sparks with a grinder. Maria shrieked. Dave howled through his rubber mask, and Sean taunted the actors like he was too tough to scare. Corny, but the deeper we went, the colder it got. The corn maze came next. Stalks wired to plywood frames. We had to go single file. Knox followed us along the walls, sliding like something pacing us on the other side. Jess muttered quit it, but her smile looked shaky. Then we pushed through a plastic starry sky and the smell hit. Not fog juice, not rubber, metallic, damp, blood. The next room was a crypt. Fake tombstones, black light paint, a ghoul slumped on a coffin, skin gray, eyes milky. I thought, damn, that mask looks good. And then he stepped forward. Haunted house actors aren't supposed to touch you. But he grabbed Evan's wrist. Evan laughed nervously until the ghoul lunged and bit him. Not play biting. His jaw clamped, shaking, and blood splashed hot across my knuckles. Evan screamed. Sean shoved the thing off him, but the ghoul only chewed and swallowed. We bolted. The hall we found wasn't themed, just studs, wires, a flickering light. Evan's sleeve was soaked. Jess pressed her hand to the wound, panicking. We slammed into a fire door, but it was chained from the outside, and that's when a voice whispered over the PA. No safe word. 2 figures stepped through the drape, the ghoul and the bride thing. Veil melted into her face. She moved like water. Sean tackled the groom, but it twisted and came up on top. The bride glided to Maria and bit her cheek. Maria's scream didn't sound real. It tore straight through me. We ran again. but fewer now. Evan stumbled, bleeding. Dave yanked him along. We burst into a utility hall with a generator humming. A walkie-talkie sat on a folding table. I begged for help into it, but only static answered, and that same voice: "Prepare the way." Jess smashed open a fire alarm box for the key, but the padlock chain on the door held. Behind us, the bride's veil dragged. The groom's chain clinked, and Sean, he never came back through the curtain. We found another door, stumbled into what looked like a chapel they'd built from pallets, an altar, a book, pages smeared. 3 more of them stood waiting, including a child-sized one holding an inside-out teddy bear that spilled plastic beads on the floor. Jess tried to reason with them, babbling about lawsuits and actors breaking rules. The groom lifted his hand like a priest blessing us, even sagged to his knees at the altar, eyes glassy like he'd been called. The bride touched his neck gently, motherly, before bending close. I did not stay. I vaulted the pews, dove for the old ticket window, and wriggled through the iron bars. Jess and Dave followed, but Evan did not move. The lobby beyond was empty. The ticket taker slumped in his chair, head loose, like his scalp wasn't fixed right. I didn't look down, though. I ran. The big doors were propped open, fog spilling out. The night air slapped me like a bucket of water. Jess and Dave were right behind me, and I turned to see something standing in the doorway, hand on the frame, watching, its eyes blinking with a slick film, not lids. We ran all the way to Maple. Houses stood too quiet. Mrs. Latham's candy bowl was overturned. Wrappers scattered. Little footprints tracked away in sticky red, patterned with ridges like the world's skin had split. We made it to Jess's house. The TV hissed static. Her mom wasn't home. The phones were dead. We bolted the doors, huddled in the living room. When the doorbell rang, none of us wanted to move. Jess peeked. Nothing on the stoop. Then a pale hand slid from the bushes, smooth as wax, and placed a lollipop on the mat. Unwrapped, stick chewed, and then it withdrew. We shut the door and turned off every single light. By dawn, the TV played again, but only infomercials that bled sideways. No parents came home, no one answered pagers, and outside, the street looked like a photograph, still and bleached. Eventually, I walked home alone. The depot was just a square brick in daylight, doors shut, but I swear something moved in the windows like an eel in a tank. Now, I'm writing this with my Walkman playing so I can hear something that makes sense. The tape clicks and whirs, the air tastes like pennies, and I keep thinking about that stamped skull on my wrist and how I thought haunted houses were for laughing, not bleeding. Turns out, there are no rules, just doors. And sometimes, you open the wrong one.
Subject: Black Cat Crossing. User: Burden One Son. Posted October 28, 1998.
Superstition never meant much to me. That was my old man's thing. Lucky coins, rabbit's feet, knocking on wood like it really did something. He'd tell me, Luck's the only currency that spends in the dark, boy. I always figured it was just bourbon talk. By the time I was grown, I was too tired and too broke to care about black cats or broken mirrors. But Halloween night, 1993, I found out he wasn't as full of shit as I thought. I just dropped off candy at my ex's place. Plastic pumpkins filled with cheap stuff. Reese's, Dum-Dums, those orange-wrapped peanut butter things no kid ever ate. My little girls hugged me. My boy gave me the kind of nod teenagers give when they don't know what else to do. I left quick. Didn't feel like seeing her face. Didn't feel like being reminded that I'd screwed up just about everything a man can screw up. The streets were still crawling with kids in plastic masks, but it was thinning out. I cut down Old Salem Road, 2 lanes, no lights, just woods pressing in tight. I had the radio on low, some DJ on 102.9 talking about the new Smashing Pumpkins record, and I was half asleep at the wheel, and then it happened. There was a cat in the road, black and dead center. My headlights caught the eyes, glowing green for a split second before a thump. A bump under the wheels that shot straight through the steering column. I swore and yanked the wheel, skidding into the gravel shoulder. I sat there, heart hammering, cigarette bouncing in my fingers. I checked the ditch. Nothing. No cat, no movement. Just dark trees and the smell of burnt rubber. I told myself it was gone. It happens. But a few minutes later, I pulled up to a red light on Main, and there it was. Same black cat sitting under the street lamp, tail curled neat like it had been waiting on me. Its eyes glowed, not from my headlights this time. It was like they were lit from the inside. Then the light turned green, and I went. Next stoplight, there it was again, sitting on the curb, twitching its tail, watching. By the third light, I was sweating, kept telling myself there were strays all over town, probably a dozen black cats if you looked hard enough, but this one felt the same. Same slick fur, same coal burn eyes. I lit another Marlboro, cranked the radio, tried to drown it out. DJ spun heart-shaped box. I drummed the wheel, blew smoke, but every turn I made, every block, there it was. Perched on a car hood, crouched in an alley, sitting dead still in the grass by the curb, always closer, always looking. By the time I turned onto my street, I was half out of my mind. My duplex was dark, porch light dead for weeks. I pulled into the driveway too fast, tires bumping the curb, killed the engine. For a second, nothing moved. Just kids laughing a block over. The last of Halloween fading out. Then I saw it. On my porch steps, tail wrapped around its paws, waiting. I didn't get out. Couldn't. I just sat there, smoking one cigarette after another, ashtray filling up until I heard it. Tap, 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 behind me. I turned slow. Back window, dark as a pit, and pressed against the glass was one paw. Black fur, claws clicking against the glass, slow and steady. I froze, throat tight, blinked, and then it was gone. That was enough for me. I bolted out of the car, up the steps, fumbling with my keys. I slammed the door behind me, locked it twice, leaned against it, shaking like I'd run a mile. The living room looked the same. Brown carpet, secondhand couch. TV humming with static. I poured Jack into a dirty glass, hands shaking, and that's when I saw it. On the mantle, tucked behind the kids' pictures, was a Polaroid. Old one, edges yellowed, My father standing in front of his Chevy. In one hand, his rabbit's foot keychain. In the other, a black cat. Same slick coat. Same glowing eyes. I swear it wasn't there before. The lamp flickered. Out of the corner of my eye, something moved. I turned slow. The cat was sitting in the middle of the carpet, eyes burning brighter now, like twin coals. I wanted to yell, to throw something, but the air felt heavy, pressing down. That's when it hit me. This wasn't bad luck. This was a bill coming due. My old man carried it, and now it was mine. The cat blinked slow, and I swear I heard it in my head, clear as anything. Your turn. The glass slipped from my hand, shattered on the carpet, and by the time I looked back up, it was gone. But the house wasn't empty. Not really. The shadows felt alive, heavy, watching. I didn't sleep that night. Haven't slept right on Halloween since. Midnight always brings the same sound. No matter how many lights I leave off, no matter how quiet I keep. Tap, tap, tap.
Fear Daily is an independent podcast hosted by Brandon Schexnayder and written by Brennan Storr, with Joanna Smith serving as the consulting editor, audio production by Rachel Boyd, and sound design by Southern Gothic Media. This podcast is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and incidents are either products of the author's imagination or are used fictitiously. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or to real events or locations, is entirely coincidental. Ad-free versions of Fear Daily are available now on your favorite podcast apps. For more information, visit feardaily.com. But move fast, before the server goes offline.